But first, for a country that has so many economic dramas on its plate right now, you'd be forgiven for forgetting who the Treasurer is. What's his name? Where is Jim Chalmers? Hello? Now, apparently his office is doing much of the heavy lifting in organising next week's Jobs Summit at Parliament House. Now, you'd have to seriously question whether that should be his job, especially right now as cost of living, inflation and mortgages are all rising steeply, and we need leaders dealing with it all, making decisions and making a real difference. Isn't a jobs talk fest the job of the Employment Minister alone? As I've said since this summit was announced, when you've got full employment, you don't need a job summit. You need to simply roll up your sleeves, get the immigration department stamping work visas, entice most of those 600,000 job seekers to get off their backsides and find a job, and tweak the pension to allow retirees to work more without being penalised. Enough talk, just make it happen. And it was an amendment to the pension that 2GB's Ben Fordham today urged the Prime Minister to deal with right now.
Well, Ben, this isn't done by a prime ministerial decree. There's things like legislation, and so Parliament sitting later on. Well, it's one of the issues that we'll have a look at the Jobs and Skills Summit.
What a flick pass, a buck pass. That is not quite right. If he thinks it's a goer, if he decides now, if he's capable of doing that this can work, he could easily decree, using his word, his Attorney General to formulate amendments to the Pension Act tonight. He could prioritise a vote on that legislation in 12 days' time, the first sitting day of the next period. The opposition, they're already on board with this. This is not in the too hard basket.
Labor could make it a priority in the next sitting fortnight. We could get that done on the first sitting day in the next sitting fortnight if Labor was serious about this.
Too right. That's how you get things done. To schedule discussion at a job summit on how to get more foreign workers into the country and tap into the retired workforce, it is just political spin. You do that today. Now, Labor sees this summit as some kind of visual show of doing the hard yakka, and they see it as a symbol of how conciliatory the new government is. It's all show. They'd rather decorate the Great Hall than get on with what needs to be done today. You think about this too. We've been promised a surge in defence spending. Doesn't that also mean a jobs bonanza? No one from the ADF or the defence sector has been invited to the event. No one from the recruitment industry has even been invited. Recruitment, not the big banks, only the banking union. And what about Labor's concern for jobs in the great fossil fuel renewable transition? I thought there were a possible 600,000 new jobs to be created. They've shunned the nation's peak oil and gas body, they've shunned the sector's biggest company, and they've shunned the owner of the largest coal-fired power plant. No Woodside, no Origin, no Santos. And that says to me that the government doesn't want to be seen anywhere within cooey of a fossil fuel company. Again, it is the symbolism that counts most to the Labor Party. Despite our reliance on their contribution to baseload power and their enormous revenue earned for this country, they are not welcome at this job summit. And as for visas, as I've said, if we can shift thousands of public servants into the human services area to process Josh Frydenberg's JobKeeper, why can't we order the same major shift today to stamp the visas of tens of thousands of foreign workers who are still waiting for the green light? I spoke to one very successful Sydney restaurateur last night who cannot wait for his old chef to return to the kitchen, but first he has to return to Australia. The problem is, it's now 9 months since this chef first applied for a new visa, and he's still not back into the country. That doesn't need a summit to solve.